Well, greetings and salutations, test takers. Coming to you from my off-grid studio, getting our kicks on historic Route 66 with another explication request. If you have an explication request, send it to explication request at guruexamprep.com, and we're more than happy to help you out. Here's today's request. Miss Green buys 300 shares at 15. So key thing, whenever we have stock and options, stock dominates. She then writes three RSW July 20 calls at 1 and writes three RSW July 10 puts at 50 cents. What's the maximum potential loss? So we got to know the stock dominates. So that worst thing is going to be when that stock goes to zero. We fire up the T. The T always works. Sometimes the other ways work, but the T always works. Tracking money in and out. If you can track money in and out of the account, you know contract specifications, you're in pretty good shape. So we have an obligation to sell 300 shares at 20. We got 1 point there. I'm doing it per share, and I'm going to multiply once instead of trying to multiply all the way through. No problem there. We're obligated to sell 300 shares at 15 or 20. We've got them at 15, so that's wonderful. No problem. We have an obligation to buy. That's tricky. We already own 300 shares, and we have an obligation to buy 300 more. We write three RSW 10 puts for 50 cents. And that's the key to this question. That's an obligation to buy. That's going to be problematic. So as I said, the worst case is the stock goes to zero because stock dominates. So stock goes to zero. We're going to lose on the stock 15 points. We're also going to have to buy another 300 shares at 10. So we're out a total of 25 per share. We're talking about 300 shares. And the difference between those two is 23 and a half times 300. That way I don't have to do a multiplication all the way through, right? I don't have to put 4,500 out, 3,000 out, 150 in. So I like to do it per share if I can. Now, if I would have looked at this, that's my max loss. That's the answer to the question. If I would have looked at this and there was like, two contracts and four contracts, didn't match up with the stock, well, then I wouldn't have done it per share. I would have actually put the 4,500 in there, the $3,000 in there, $300, 150. So you just got to kind of decide how to attack on these kind of questions. So this one's a tough one. Do I think you're going to see this on your Series 7? Absolutely not. But I do think it's a good example of how the T can be helpful in draining the swamp and figuring out what the heck's going on. All right. Well, remember, inch by inch, options are a cinch. Yard by yard, options are hard. And I'll see you for the next explication request.